Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody doing? What are you doing? Hello, everybody. I hope y'all are well. Let me get over to my little screen here so we're all on the same thing. I'm having a hard time with the what do you call it? Um, with the green screen, so it's kind of fuzzy or whatever. But I said, you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and go live. That's it. Oh, thanks, Jay, for gifting 5 memberships. Hello, Indy. Hello, Emily. I hope y'all are doing lovely. Thank y'all for hanging out and keeping those sofa cushions fluffed. I hope y'all are warm and snuggly wherever you're at. Emily, I hope your little pet sittings are going well. And I hope everybody else as well. Emily called me and was like, you have your thing set for 8 a.m. And I was like, oh my God, it's been that way all day. So I apologize if people are like, when are we doing this? What's going on here? But it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be the Sofa Squad if we didn't do something like that, okay? It just wouldn't be, right? It just wouldn't be, okay? But that's it. I hope y'all are good. So what we're going to do is it's about 3 different people hit me up on different things today talking about, have I read this affidavit, whatever you want to call this lawsuit. I've known about this drama going on in the background, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to even read this yet. I downloaded the thing, I haven't read it yet, and I was like, we're going to read through it some. And like I was telling Emily earlier, I was like, if it's interesting and if it's like, oh God, wow, we'll do a secondary one. It's 180 pages. You already know, if you follow me, we ain't getting through all that tonight, right? I got probably an hour in me before I'm going to be like, you know. But I've been seeing people just talking about all this stuff in it everywhere. And I was like, I want to see what this is. So I was like, we'll do a live chat, we'll read through it, and we'll see what it's about. Now, y'all, before we do all that, let me just show y'all something. Y'all are going to absolutely scream. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably already know what it is, but please hold. Y'all, why did they make me buy this? Why did they make me buy this? All they had was the party size. Okay, we had to get it. Okay, we had no choice. Y'all look at that. Can you imagine with some breadcrumbs on it? Baked, broil high, conventional oven, 400 degrees for an hour. Southern Dolly Southern fried apples. Oh, let's see the calories. 0 calories. 1 cup has 340 calories. Honestly, not bad. Honestly, not bad. So, please, you already know we're having it tomorrow night. It is unfortunate because I would have it tonight, but let's be honest, I'm gonna eat the whole thing. Whenever we do eat it, I'll eat the whole thing. We got hamburgers and Arby fries from the grocery store. They were good. Not hamburgers from Arby's, but from this thing or whatever. Ruth, I've searched in every grocery store. Derek sent me a picture of it, and I finally found it at Food Lion. And so I look every time I go, I'm like, I want to see if Dolly's stuff is here. Now her pies and stuff are always in the freezer area, but yeah, it took me a minute. Okay, so what we're gonna do is well, first of all, let me tell you in general what this is about, because obviously we're gonna find out, but just so everybody's on the same page. Okay, so there was a movie that came out, pardon me, at the end of 2024. I'm sorry, 2024. It's called It Ends With Us. So we're talking Blake Lively, we're talking Justin Baldoni. I hope I'm saying his name right. We're talking, if you remember this, massive publicity drama. Okay. So Blake Lively claimed in December 2024, she filed a complaint with the California Civil Rights Department saying that he harassed her in a certain type way. She said that he engaged in unwelcome physical contact, made inappropriate comments, created a hostile work environment, and that his team orchestrated like the smear campaign, right? So then he counterclaimed, and he was like, no, I absolutely deny that. And you know what? I'm going to get a $400 million lawsuit against you, Ryan Reynolds, and your publicist. We're talking defamation, we're talking extortion, we're talking invasion of privacy. Now, he lost an award, his talent agency dropped him, all this stuff, right? So then he has done this counter lawsuit, and they've released this document we're about to go through, right? And it has all of this information in here that's allegedly like bombshell against Blake and all this type of stuff. So I don't know the deal other than that. We're going to find it out together. I know that like another thing that kind of went viral around this time was people started pulling up interviews of Blake, like publicity interviews, and like highlighting how rude she was to people and whatnot. Do I personally know her? No. Have I ever? I mean, honestly, I don't even know a movie that I've seen with her in it, right? So there's that. Okay. Um, so I don't know what we're about to get into. Okay, I don't really have an opinion on it yet, obviously. So, oh, hey, Tori, how's it going? Oh, we delayed the stream for an hour anyway. Oh, cool. I hope everything's okay. Hey, Carly. Hey, Kathleen. Hey, Sherry. Hey, Susan. Hey, Linus, how's it going? Hey, Stephanie. Okay, so yeah, Stephanie says he is boo-hooing for Ryan Reynolds, John, and he disrespected his wife, but this is about to be, I just know this could be good. I took a nap, had the worst dream before being pranky with my neighbor after further. No! That's a bad dream there. Okay, so let me find the little screen over here, and we're going to start going through. And again, we're not going to get through the whole thing because it's 180 pages. You know, and if it's not like, oh my gosh, then, whatever. We'll just catch it in the headlines along the way. Please call support to us. Okay, so y'all see that? Yep. Hey, Audrey, how's it going? Okay, let me find the screen again. Well, here we go. Okay, so let's scroll up, right? Okay, so up here, we're gonna get right into it here. So plaintiffs Wayfar Studios LLC, Delaware LLC, Justin Baldoni, an individual, Jamie Heath, an individual, It Ends With Us Movie LLC, a California limited liability company, Melissa Nathan, an individual, and Jennifer Abel, an individual, a California Limit LLC are the plaintiffs, and they bring their claims for damages against Blake Lively, an individual, Ryan Reynolds, an individual, Leslie Sloan, that's the publicist, and Vision PR Incorporated, a New York corporation, and allege as follows. Here we go. Introduction. The following is not a story that plaintiffs ever wish to tell. Unfortunately, the defendant Blake Lively has unequivocally left them with no choice, not only to set the record straight in response to Lively's accusations, but also to put the spotlight on the parts of Hollywood that they have dedicated their careers to being the antithesis of. That task was always going to be an uphill battle. They never imagined they would encounter it to this degree. Interesting. Let me come over here and make sure I can see all. Yes, thanks, Amelia. So I'm kind of on another screen right here. Let me see if I can do this because I hate doing that. Okay. Okay, so had Lively chose to merely ride out the self-inflicted press catastrophe she faced in August 2024, the public would likely have moved on and never knows the truth about her. They would have never known that she deliberately and systematically robbed the plaintiffs, Justin Baldoni and Wayfair Studios, of their movie. No one except the parties involved would have known that she used threats and extortions to. I'm gonna have to switch over the thing. I can't do it on both screens. I just can't see it. To relegate the colleagues she once highly praised to a basement to sit out their own premiere, while she enjoyed the spotlight of a premiere and after party that was ultimately co-financed by both Wayfair and Sony. She would have gotten away with these things and more because Baldoni focused entirely on seeing the film succeed, would have held his tongue as he had through the year and a half that Lively tormented him, his family, and his partners. But Lively could not tolerate her publicly tainted image even for a moment. And further, she could not accept it was entirely of her own making. She needed a scapegoat, and rather than admit and take accountability for her own mishaps, she chose to blame plaintiffs. in a malicious, pardon me, an unforgivably public manner. When she and Reynolds could not force Baldoni and Wayfair to read a statement she and her representatives prepared, extorting them to take accountability in defense of Lively's actions, she lay in wait for months, preparing to publicly attack Baldoni by falsely claiming that he had harassed her. The same falsified stories she had calculatingly devised and used throughout the production of this film in order to take control were now being used publicly to destroy Baldoni and plaintiffs. Lively stole Wayfarer's movie, hijacked Wayfarer's premiere, destroyed plaintiffs' personal and professional reputations and livelihood, and aimed to drive plaintiffs out of business entirely. It further appears that Lively worked for months with the equally powerful New York Times to prepare a false and damaging narrative to deploy against plaintiffs. Not surprisingly, Lively prepared an administrative complaint with the Civil Rights Department of California, the CRD complaint, in an attempt to use the litigation privilege to shield her behind-the-scenes conspiracy with the New York Times, but upon information and belief, the CRD complaint was filed only after the defendants spent months feeding falsehoods to the New York Times, intending that they be disseminated to damage plaintiffs. Lively delivered the CRD complaint to plaintiffs over the Christmas holiday, and rather than promptly file a lawsuit, Lively, on behalf of belief, leaked the private CRD complaint to the public, utilizing the New York Times as a conduit for her revenge. The CRD complaint, and upon information and belief, the false information delivered to the New York Times before the CRD complaint was filed was rife with lies and doctored evidence. Lively then waited 11 days to file suit against plaintiffs in what seemed to be a desperate move after the public questioned why she had never filed a civil lawsuit. On information and belief, Lively never intended to file a civil lawsuit, which would have triggered plaintiffs' right to discovery, including obtaining evidence and disposing Lively under oath. By the time Lively actually filed a lawsuit against plaintiffs, the damage to plaintiffs was done by virtue of Lively's months of colluding with the New York Times on a false and malicious narrative, unshielding by any privilege. Make no mistake, these actions were deliberate. Okay, so now, of course, in this moment right here, this is just like what they're coming out with. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, obviously, we have to see what pans out. But, I mean, this is like crazy, right? I mean, these are pretty serious allegations that he's come out with, and obviously that she came out with as well. I mean, I guess, like, here's my thing. This is what I wanted to find out about this, like, and even going back before this came out, like, what was the point of all this? Like, what started this, right? Like, what started the drama to get to this level? Was it him doing something to her and her calling him out, and then he getting mad? Or if he's saying, oh, that's a lie, then why would she, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, why, like, what, like, I don't get it. Okay, here we go. It's like, keep reading, Paul, you might understand. Okay, so here we go. Plaintiffs now have no choice but to fight back, armed with only the truth and the mountain of concrete evidence disproving Lively's allegations. Heartbreakingly, a film that Baldoni envisioned years ago would honor the survivors of domestic violence by telling their story with the lofty goal of making a positive impact in the world has now been overshadowed beyond recognition solely as a result of Lively's actions and cruelty. I mean, honestly, when I think of this movie, I am like, yeah, that's this drama is what comes to mind. I mean, it is what it is. Lively wields immense power as one of the world's best known celebrities. Y'all, help me out here. I didn't know who she was till this drama. Did anybody else know who she was? I don't get, I mean, granted, I'm old at this point, I guess, because like my version of celebrities are much different than the roster that they have out today. I didn't even know who she was till this. Honestly, if she hadn't stirred this drama up, I probably would not have even known her. I had no idea. It's Blake Lively, yes. I knew her from Sisterhood. Okay, Sisterhood. Wait, this is gonna age me. Are you talking about Sisterhood, the Traveling Pants? Or is this another Sisterhood? Ryan Reynolds' wife, right? Now I know Ryan Reynolds like his little things. Thanks, Bo Peep. I'm gonna actually make a video for the Yeah, the traveling pants. I never saw that. I need to see it though. So she was in that. Okay. I'm going to make a little vlog for the other channel. Okay, here we go. So in 2024, she used that power to seize control of the film. It Ends With Us. The film, produced and co-financed by plaintiff Wayfair and directed by Baldoni, who also portrayed the lead, Riley, set out to destroy plaintiff's livelihood and business if they'd not bend to her incessant demands. And when they refused to give way, she did exactly that, accusing them of foul and reprehensible as misconduct. Wayfair was blindsided when Lively, upon the conclusion of the industry strikes, refused to return to production absent the company's agreeing to her non-negotiable protections for return to production. The return to production demands that insinuated misconduct had occurred during filming, which, as evidence will establish, did not. Wayfair was equally blindsided when Lively leveraged this document, essentially signed under duress to seize control of the film, ultimately getting her own cut of the film and a coveted PGA mark, and at her command ousting Baldoni from all marketing and promotional efforts, with many of the cast members and the author, all of whom he until then had long-standing positive relationships with. I mean, if this is true, again, this is just his side. This is him presenting his thesis. Doesn't mean it's true. But y'all, this is next level. Okay, this is insane, right? And this is true. So this is very calculated sounding and whatnot. Okay, here we go. When Lively faced significant public backlash from what often was referred to as her tone-deaf and insensitive press tour for the film. See, this is how I became to know her, is through TikTok clips of her just being like super rude to people. But again, it's like, well, are these just clipped or what? She doubled down on her false, misleading accusations against Baldoni. She seemed determined to make Baldoni the real-life villain in her story. Her publicist, Leslie Sloan, went as so far as to propagate malicious stories portraying Baldoni as an S-predator, a term Lively's husband, a term Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds, also used to describe Baldoni when he called Baldoni's own agent. Modern society justly reviles S harassers and abusers, and Lively knew full well that making those allegations would never be a career, oh my gosh, I'm sorry, be a career death sentence for plaintiffs, especially given that Baldoni has lived his private and public life as an impassioned advocate for gender equality and healthy masculinity. She did not expect, however, that plaintiffs would be able to meet those allegations with concrete documentary evidence, disproving her claims and demonstrating that they, not Lively, were the targets of a calculated and vitriolic smear campaign. That evidence, included in part herein, is the basis for the plaintiff's claims against the defendants for their extortion, defamation, and further wrongdoing. The film was hotly anticipated. The film was the hotly anticipated adaptation of a worldwide best-selling book by Colleen Hoover, and by starring in it as Lily, Lively stood to enhance her already considerable star power. But she was not content merely to headline one of the year's biggest movies. Instead, apparently driven by overweening ambition and a need for control, Lively eventually leveraged her power as a wealthy celebrity to wrest the reins from her co-star and the film's director. Baldoni, insisting on total control over every aspect of the film she could get her hands on, from wardrobe to marketing strategy to music, even creating her own cut of the film. Not only did Lively's power cost numerous Not only did Lively's power play cost numerous people their jobs, but at every turn her wrong-headed creative decisions reflected her fundamental lack of understanding of the book the film was based on. This came as no surprise to her worried colleagues, given that even well into production, Lively had not even read the book. And you see they put that in bold right there. Okay. I mean, oh my God. Oh, I hope you feel better, Sherry. hadn't even read the book on it. Read some tweets about it. September 14th, text message from Baldoni to Heath that we are rooting to see her fulfill. After rereading the book, which had 150 pages to build their relationship, we have combined scenes to heighten the stakes for Riley in pursuit of Lily, utilizing humor and his desire to sleep with her. While I understand Blake's reasons for not wanting to read the book does a very good job in getting in Lily's mind during her interactions with Riley and setting up the why behind her attraction to him, which ultimately helps us understand why she stays in the end. Okay, now just pause right there. So again, if these allegations are true, why would you not read that? Like, why? I mean, that's so bizarre to me. Like, of course you would want to read the book. Andy says, "Is she kind of a celebrity Karen?" I guess so. Hey, agent, how's it going? Um, and yeah, I saw her. Yeah, is Audrey still here? Um, what's his name now? Oh, you're welcome, Sherry. Yeah, I hope you feel better. So yeah, that's just weird that she doesn't want to read it. So Brembu says, so much animosity and I'm not believe it's just the facts. Yeah, 100%. Then Carly says, I'm convinced all those times that Blake and Ryan went back and forth on Twitter, the witty commentary, that was really Ryan on two devices. What if this is the year that we find out that Ryan, like we get Tia on Ryan, right? He seems so like benevolent. Is that the right word? Lawyer B says his evidence tracks more than hers, in my opinion. Ooh, okay, here we go. Here you go. Okay. So this is giving Amber Heard Johnny Depp, y'all. I mean, right up, we're the 5 pages in, Amber Heard Johnny Depp vibes, right? Okay, here we go. So Lively's disastrous marketing efforts and tone-deaf press interviews and appearances backfired and led to widespread criticism of Lively's promotional approach to the film's highly sensitive focus on domestic violence. Past videos of Lively resurfaced online. Videos have appeared to solidify public perception that Lively was an insensitive mean girl who cared more about peddling her products and acknowledging the domestic violence survivor community. Social media commenters quickly pointed out that her tie-in of her alcohol beverages was in particularly poor taste, given the World Health Organization estimates that 55% of domestic violence incidents are linked to alcohol. Unbelievably, Lively made this harmful and irresponsible message worse by naming a drink at her premiere after party, Riley You Wait, after the character who committed domestic violence in the film. The suggestion that Wayfarer caused the online backlash against her is absurd given the evidence of her own insensitivity. Okay. Okay, now here's a hyphen. Lively later claimed she read the book, but text evidence shows that well into the production she had not, and in fact expressed she had chosen not to read the book. She even tried to Google the color of her character's hair rather than pick up the book. My God. It's so fascinating when you start to see how the lives of these celebrities, again, this is allegedly, but nonetheless, when you see behind, the man behind the curtain kind of a thing, from Wizard of Oz, it's just like they're dialing in their homework too. They don't know. They don't know anymore. They don't know any more than we do. They don't know anymore, or they're not trying any more than like we are sometimes. Okay, let's keep going. Where are we at? Here we go. So number 11, here we go. Sorry. Okay, so sadly, this backlash could have been avoided had she not refused to meet with the film's domestic violence partner organization, nomore.org. As Baldoni had offered, even a brief visit to their website or simple online search would have readily uncovered this and other information on the topic of domestic violence. Meanwhile, Baldoni, whom Lively herself had ensured was excluded from participating in her marketing efforts, was safeguarded from this backlash as he focused on amplifying the voices of those affected by domestic violence. As originally intended when he reached out to author Colleen Hoover 5 years earlier, and documented by his partnership with nomore.org dating back to 2022. Baldoni's sincere efforts were well received. even more so in contrast with Lively's campaign to downplay the premise of the film and sell hair care and alcohol products. Lively, enraged that her plans were foiled and armed with proof of alleged harassment in the form of a 17-point list of demands she had required plaintiffs to sign just months earlier, focused her rage on Baldoni, blaming him for the consequences of her own missteps. Meanwhile, Stephanie Jones, founder of Joneswork LLC, Joneswork, Wayfair's and Baldoni's erstwhile PR firm, were embroiled in a personal and professional crisis. Her increasingly erratic behavior had driven away not only high-profile clients, but also her right-hand woman, plaintiff Jennifer Abel, who oversaw the Joneswork Los Angeles office. Jones's behavior grew more and more bizarre as she lashed out at loyal clients, like Wayfair, in rage-filled rants, and veered away from professional experience and strategy when making critical decisions affecting Joneswork clients. After a final outburst against Wayfair in which she outright refused to comply with their direct instructions, Wayfair had no choice but to cut ties with Jones and Joneswork, rather than leave their public image in the hands of what appeared to be an out-of-control Jones, whose actions were not aligned with Wayfair and Baldoni's worldview and wishes. Jones was filled with impotent rage at Wayfair and at Abel, who a month before had announced her decision to leave Joneswork to form her own company. Jones saw an opportunity for revenge. She took it. Okay, so I'm just going to say this. Again, if this is true, I'll say it 100 times over reading through this. We don't know. This is just his side, whatever. Okay. This is like so orchestrated. I don't know if that's the right word for it. Like CIA level stuff. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like they wanted to seek revenge and this, like basically what a miserable group of people this sounds like. If this is all on the up and up or whatever. Yes, sinister is the perfect word, right? Like totally soap opera. You know what I mean? It's just like I mean, everyone's got a motive. Everyone's screwing everybody over. Everyone's doing this, and it's just like, what a gross world that like just this, not the world in general, but this little world we're peering into, right? Yeah, no. Sandy says, "Can you imagine living like that?" No, it does not sound. Hey, Mel, how's it going? Yeah, icky is a good word for it. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. On information and belief, Jones, Lively, Reynolds, and Leslie Sloan, Lively's publicist, and others concocted a plan whereby Jones would seize Abel's phone upon her departure and mine it for messages that, stripped of context, could be used to concoct a false narrative that the disastrous press coverage of Lively's callous and opportunistic comments and the public reaction to those comments were not Lively's fault at all, but the result of a calculated, though in reality non-existent, smear campaign by Baldoni and his team. On information and belief, Jones's role in the scheme accounts for her conspicuous absence from Lively's retelling of events. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that defendants have been working in concert since at least August 21st, 2024, when Sloan boasted to Nathan that she had seen her text and that Nathan would soon be sued. I mean, again, this right here, this is insane. The links that they're willing to go through. And I mean, I guess when you're operating on that platform of like the world is like, again, we don't know who she was, but you're like that level, this level of, celebrity. I guess this, obviously the stakes are much higher. So it's like she has to, because yeah, her press conference stuff did not go over well with the public at all, right? It was bad. So if that's like a kernel of this, where they're trying to figure out like how can we blame this on somebody else, but you also have the whole thing they're claiming going on where she's basically trying to like take over the movie, and that's where I'm just like, I mean, this is wild. Okay, here we go. Though Lively claimed Baldoni was the one smearing her, the reality is that it was Lively and her team who carefully planned and implemented a vile smear campaign against Baldoni and Wayfair to deflect attention and blame for Lively's disastrous misjudgments. Lively would recast herself as the long-suffering martyr by portraying Baldoni and Wayfair as her persecutors, the masterminds behind a smear campaign that evidence will show did not exist. Defendant Sloan Vision PR Vision was all too willing to carry out this strategy, especially once armed with ammunition by Jones, who was bent on revenge against her ex-employee and former client. Now, the little asterisk thing says, while it is not entirely uncommon to request that an existing employee return company property, it is not often the case that personal phones, phone numbers, and communication are seized, made public, and weaponized against the employee and the company's own clients. Alrighty. Number 16. Shortly after the film's premiere and public backlash against Lively, together with her husband, defendant Ryan Reynolds, demanded through their talent agency, which also represented Wayfair and Baldoni, that plaintiffs publicly apologize for so-called mistakes during production in order to deflect the avalanche of negative media coverage of Lively. Reynolds and Lively drafted a statement and demanded that Baldoni, Wayfair, and Heath issue that statement requiring them to apologize to the public and fall on their sword, despite having done nothing wrong, or else the gloves would come off. Multiple WEME executives acknowledged that in their experience, Lively and Reynolds' threats were not to be taken lightly, though admitting to false, vague, and unspecified mistakes would be tantamount to admitting to career-ending misconduct. Baldoni, Wayfair, and Heath refused to apologize for sins they had never committed. They took a stand, knowing full well that Lively and Reynolds would bring the full might of their celebrity artillery against them, and that is precisely what happened. Now, I guess here's another question too: how do you cover up like the interviews that she was doing, where people are clipping it and like she's being rude and all this kind of stuff or whatever? How do you even begin to concoct blaming that on somebody else? I mean, it's like it's how you handled yourself. You see what I'm saying? Like that part right there is like, okay, great, dandy, you want to save face. I get it. Hey, we all have bad days, but how? I don't get like how they were connecting the dots in that. And yeah, no, we're totally not going to read all 100. I should have said that. We're absolutely not reading all 170 pages. I mean, we might hang out for like another 30, 40 minutes or so reading stuff. I hadn't read this at all. So this is all brand new to me too, as you can probably see. But a few people emailed, several people just joined. Several people have asked me about this. I've seen it blown up on TikTok, all this type of stuff. So obviously I'm like, well, what is this, right? So yeah. Yeah, because you already saw like instantly page one, body began rejecting it, but not a bad rejecting it like it does Visions of Glory, like a normal rejecting it of like, oh, it's the end of the day. I've been up since like 4. You know what I mean? That kind of body rejection. There's varying levels to the body rejection of materials. Okay, that's all. And I must just say, how much this will be an ongoing series. Yeah, 100%. Like I was like, if we get into this and it's good, oh yeah, I'll do it. Well, probably like the next few lives we'll do this unless something major comes up. So yeah. Okay, let me find it again. Okay, here we go. Okay, so let me scroll down. Lively, working with her husband, her publicist, and Jones, among others, set out on a campaign to tar and feather plaintiffs in the press. They conspired and worked in concert with the New York Times to put out a blockbuster news report as devastating as it was false. They advanced a fabricated narrative in the press that plaintiffs had harassed Lively, then embarked on a calculated and malicious smear campaign to destroy her reputation as retaliation for daring to complain about the harassment. Defendants laid their trap carefully over a period of months before springing in all at once on the eve of the winter holidays. Just as plainly, they knew full well that their claims were entirely baseless because their own wrongfully obtained evidence proved that neither the alleged harassment nor the accompanying smear campaign against Lively ever existed. Yet Lively moved forward with her plan with ruthless precision, doubling down in the face of abundant evidence, casting doubt on the veracity of her story. Lively even went as far as to serve her lawsuit on the Los Angeles-based defendants as they evacuated their homes in the midst of devastating fires engulfing their city. On a day when defendants were gathering their kids and pets, preparing go bags, and monitoring evacuation orders while fearing for their homes, Lively, from the safety of her penthouse in New York, deployed process servers in the midst of these troubling times. At bottom, this is not a case about celebrities snipping at each other in the press. This is a case about two of the most powerful stars in the world deploying their enormous power to steal an entire film right out of the hands of its director and production studio. Then, when Lively and Reynolds' efforts failed to win them the acclaim they believed they so richly deserved, they turned their fury on the chosen scapegoat, tolerating a year and a half of their behavior while remaining polite and professional at every turn, offered Bodoni and Wayfair no protection. By bringing the complaint By bringing this complaint, plaintiffs commit themselves to seeking and proving the facts, based not on insinuations built from selectively edited and context-free text snippets, but by putting all the evidence before the court and the public. When plaintiffs have their day in court, the jury will recognize that even the most powerful celebrity cannot bend the truth to her will. Pardon me. So, A. Baldoni and Wayfair purchased rights to It Ends With Us. 20. Baldoni co-founded Wayfair in 2019. From the beginning, Wayfair was dedicated to bringing a different kind of studio, one that produced world-class entertainment driven by a powerful vision for change. Baldoni, whose film career was dedicated to producing and directing meaningful films to have a positive impact on the world, was deeply moved when he read the book It Ends With Us, and genuinely believed he could make a film that could save lives. His last two films were created as a result of a deep sense of responsibility to share meaningful stories. Baldoni's feature film directorial debut, 5 Feet Apart, was based on a young woman, Claire Wineland, who lived with cystic fibrosis and courageously documented her plight on YouTube. Baldoni, his family, and friends developed a friendship with Claire, whose journey deeply inspired Baldoni. Before Claire passed away, he promised he would tell her story, and he did just that in the film he directed. The film had widespread impact on the CF community, and Baldoni still perceives messages about the film's impact. Baldoni also supports her foundation yearly and remained close with Claire's parents, even bringing her father as guest to the premiere of It Ends With Us. Baldoni's more recent film was the Wayfair film Clouds, a true story about a teenager with cancer, Zach Sobich, who finds joyful purpose and inspiration in music. So yeah, so this is this part right here of people talking about like he, kind of had a history of doing films of this nature and whatnot. Okay, I can see that. And I guess too, the other part, um, I, I don't like again when they keep talking about. Again, I just didn't know who she was, is what I'm trying to get at. Really, I'm just tired, so I can't really find the way to say it. When they're talking about the power, now Ryan Reynolds, obviously, I mean, he's way bigger of a name, I think, than her. Does that matter? No, but I guess in the power world and things, I mean, I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around this part right here. I'm not saying, oh, I don't believe this or anything, but just like, analyzing it. I'm like, so did Ryan and Blake, per this, really just sit here and think, oh, here's this dude, here's this movie that probably is going to get some awards. We're going to hijack this. This guy we can bully. We can take his movie over from him. We can get cuts in the profits. We can take this over. We can make this our little baby and get the attention and accolades for this that we wanted. I mean, this is kind of what I'm reading into it, and so they set out to do that. And so I guess I'm like, really, like it just. Okay, like if that's all true, then wow, very cutthroat. Okay, wait, I'm on the wrong page. I'm just sitting here staring. Okay, okay, here. In pursuit of that same vision in 2019, Wayfair acquired the film rights to It Ends With Us, a Colleen Hoover novel published in 2016. Though positioned as a romance novel, The book explores themes of domestic violence and generational patterns of abuse, and these messages resonated deeply with readers and drew a passionate fan base. In 2021, the novel exploded in popularity thanks to the social media phenomenon Book Talk. Many fans expressed how important the book was to them as survivors of domestic violence and intimate partner abuse. When it ends with us, author Colleen Hoover watched 5 Feet Apart in theaters, she told Baldoni, "You are the right person to make this movie," referring to It Ends with Us. Baldoni's early emails to Hoover demonstrate his commitment to doing so in the manner he envisioned would be most impactful. In fact, it was Hoover who suggested Baldoni portray Riley. Okay, so here's an email here. Hey, Colleen, thanks for the intro. Oh, he says, wow, it's such a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for being open to having me potentially option your book. Some quick backstory. My purpose and intention in this insane business are simple: create impact by making content that helps us remember our shared humanity. Content that asks us to be better, to make the hard choice in the moment, that one day on our deathbeds we will be grateful. For it's been a tough road, but an incredible one, as our industry doesn't often reward those of us trying to change culture. Right? Luckily, it's the message. Hold on. It's the message of those that watch the content that are the reward and the lives we have affected. I've always believed the financial reward will come, but it's not the primary motivation. As Johanna may have told you, I'm building and got funding for a company whose mission is to tell high-end, meaningful stories, and I just finished my first film with my second setup at Warner Brother going this fall. Based on this short doc I directed 7 years ago. Just also, if you'd like to see an early screening of 5 Feet Apart, I'm sure I can make that happen as well. Where are you based? Just wanted to say, of the reviews I read for this book, the one stood out to me and makes me so excited to potentially work with you. Your fans love you. What a gift you have. And then it goes into this. Like the review of all the heroines I've ever read, Lily was most certainly one of the ones I admired the most. I knew loved her from the first few pages, but having finished the book, I truly couldn't be prouder of her. Her strength and and conviction over the course of the story made her into a heroine. I have a hard time saying that word. I'd want every girl and woman to read about and look up to. She was so real and vulnerable, as we all are, but the strength with which she took control of her life was admirable on such a deep level. I just wanted to hug her and cheer. I don't think, oh gosh, oh gosh, I don't think I've ever been this proud of a fictional character before. There's an incredibly powerful message in this book that is very subtly woven in from the start. It begins in the first chapter, but you don't yet realize how significant each of these moments truly are. And as you read more, these pieces of the story come together, forming a scenario that gives such a raw, honest portrayal of an incredibly relevant issue. I'm not mentioning it on purpose because I don't want you to expect it. The fact that it's unexpected for you as the reader is very important because it's also unexpected for the heroine. Heroine. Yeah, well, in the second one I get back to the screen, y'all tell me how to say that word. As she begins to realize what kind of situation she's in, so do you. This realization very much allows you to express your journey with her. Yes, please send over an ebook, but I also just purchased it on paperback. As I like supporting the authors. This is looking for Justin. Okay, over here. Good night, Tori. Thanks for joining. Um, I just say, yeah, it's interesting. Let me back up to Dominique here. Oh, hey, Dwayne, how's it going? People were questioning her standing in the Met Gala, like why is she a headliner when she's never in anything real successful? And this came her way. I got a ton of just can't stress whatever. This is so interesting reading all the backstory, like Emily said. Oh my gosh. The Deadpool director did interviews about it. He refuses to work with Ryan Reynolds ever again. He called him mean. Oh wow, this is so disappointing about Ryan. I didn't have like a preconceived notion of Blade because honestly I didn't know who she was until this came out, to this drama. I mean, like, honestly, I feel like a lot of people probably felt that way. Like they didn't know. Um, I mean, it's kind of a bad way to get known, right? Oh, good lord. They're gonna do another one of these being let me get a sip of water. This tip just Ryan is so tiny. Again, another one from Justin. I'm finally coming I'm finally coming up for air from the release of the film, but still shooting Jane for another 2 weeks. By the way, were you able to see it? Would love to know your thoughts. We actually start filming the final episodes today. Crazy, so grateful. So I haven't been able to get It Ends With Us off my mind. Such an important story, so damn romantic and beautiful and tragic and hopeful. I always say that both in art and life, all the best stories are always two things at once, and this is so much what your book is: joy and pain, love and sorrow. You did such a beautiful job of covering incredibly difficult subject matter and playing it out in a realistic and unforgettable way. What I love the most about the opportunity is to let so many women feel seen on the screen in this via this particular story. I can't even imagine how many women there are who are stuck in a relationship like this and via this story could find strength to create a better life for themselves and for their children. There are so many opportunities to partner with organizations and create impact with a story like this. I love that you held nothing back from the pain of Lily and Riley's past. I love that that really are no bad guys and that we are the sums of our experiences and our trauma. I love the opportunity for narration and the stunning and gorgeous impact of the title payoff at the end. These are the kind of stories that change and save lives, and I believe this story in particular can continue to have a huge impact on the world. So, if you will have me, I would love to option it from you. On a separate note, the screenplay for 5 Feet Apart was adapted into a novel and has been on the New York Times bestseller list since before the release of the movie last month. I know you have your charity, and I would be happy to donate some signed copies for the bookworm box. Let me know what you think. Much love, Justin. I mean, he's sounding like a pretty cool dude so far, right? Oh, good lord. I mean, it's the eyesight. I don't have. Do I? And this other thing. Where's your glasses, Paul? I don't. It's like I don't ever have when I need them. Okay, so this is from Colleen to Justin. Thank you so much for the email. I wasn't expecting you to have read it so quickly. I would love to talk with you more about the project. You get the book, and that's the most important thing to me. My big fear is that I'll option it to someone who thinks it's a hot romance and they'll take it in that absolutely wrong direction. I'm going to be upfront with you about a couple of things so you can decide if you want to move forward. I've sold several film options and I realize not all of them get made, and I'm okay with that. One of the film options was not a great experience. The producer started a fundraising campaign for the film without my knowledge or permission beforehand and ended up taking over $100,000 from my readers. The film was never made, my option was never paid, and I ended up pulling the plug on the project, and the producers never refunded readers their money. I felt terrible that my readers were the ones punished. So I mailed out $15,000 worth of free products to those who donated to their campaign. I wanted to be positive that crowdsourcing is not something that will be done when it comes to this film. It's important to me that a funding plan is in place that won't affect the supporters of this book. I mean, honestly, right? This is like genius on her part, or like, to watch out for everybody. And then this happens right here, all this drama, right? While that experience wasn't a positive one, I had a wonderful experience working with a producer on Confess. It was a 7 episode series that was picked up by Allstruck and Go90. But unfortunately, right before its release, Go90 declared that they were shutting down. Because of that, Confess released on an already defunct platform just a week before they were scheduled to shut down. Luckily, my readers got to watch it, so not all was lost, and the overall experience was so much fun and very surreal. I didn't really have a lot of involvement. Oh, excuse me. I didn't have a lot of involvement Wait, where we go? Beyond reading the script and getting the dailies, I just handed it over and let them do their thing because I was immersed in other projects at the time. It ends with us is important to me, though. I would love more involvement on this film. I've actually been working on a script for it already, along with a producer friend of mine who lives in LA. Her name is Blank, and she is a very dear friend of mine and is a huge fan and supporter of this book. We sat down for a week and outlined it last month, but I had to put it on pause because I'm on a deadline for the book I'm writing. We planned on picking it back up 2 weeks and 2 weeks and diving into it. Even though I'm the author, I believe I've been able to separate myself enough from the format of the book to know what would make the best setup for the film. While I do want to please the readers who have read the book, I understand the need to make a film that will equally touch those who haven't read the book. Are you based out of LA? Maybe we can meet and have a chat about our vision for the film to make sure we're on the same page. I'm based out of Texas, but am in LA a lot. Other than ensuring my readers won't be asked to donate to the fundraising for a film and hoping to have more involvement in the process when it comes to the script and production, I don't really have any other request. I realize your experiences with film far outweighs mine, and based on the magnificent adaptation you did of 5 Feet Apart, I'm confident you could do this book justice and that our vision will align. I watched the film 2 nights ago and immediately started the book yesterday. Sometimes I like to do it backwards. I think you did a wonderful job. And even though I'm not finished with the book, I feel the essence of it was captured beautifully through film. I wrote a book where one of the characters suffers from CF. So I've done a lot of research on the subject and thought Rachel and you did an amazing portrayal of what carriers of CF go through. In fact, our very first donation through the Bookworm Box was to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. We donated in honor of the child of one of the readers. Her name is Blank, and he's just an incredibly inspiring kid. Check out his video. It's actually funny you emailed me when you did. When the email came to my phone, I was on your website browsing Wayfair. Love the hashtag Me Too chat. Okay, that's enough rambling. I really do appreciate the email and appreciate you taking a chance on reading the book. My readers are so ready to support the book, and it's something I can see that for so many of them. So naturally, I want them to be happy. I want to bring them an adaptation they'll be proud of. Did you happen to read the author's note at the end of the novel? It's a quick read if you didn't get the chance to read it. My mother inspired the book, so maybe that's why I've been hesitant to sell the rights to it in the past. I feel good about this, though. I feel good about you. I've seen your past work, your passion, and your love for humanity, and I honestly feel there's no better person for the project. Before I direct you to my agent, I just want to get your thoughts on the above. Thanks so much, Justin. I hope you and your family were able to get some vacation time in. And then it says Colleen, however, if this works out, I would love books for the bookstore. In fact, we just started a YA box and would love to feature 5 Feet Apart in the subscription box if there's a way we can buy a few hundred copies at cost. Everyone needs this book in their possession. The next thing, have you given any thought that you would want an acting role in this? Say maybe Riley. I can see it. Hold on. So you see kind of how like this is portraying. You see how it's planning out. Now, so on that note, let me catch up with your stuff here. I heard it wasn't great. I can't believe this went as well. Speaking to me, the book was not that great in my opinion. It can be best on all at once. I haven't read the book. I haven't seen the movie myself. Tom wasn't a conversion, so I don't love that. Yeah, that could be true too, Mel. Yeah, I didn't see the book or the movie. See, now I'm curious at this point going over this to see, especially like what was the vibe between the two. If there was this much drama going on, um, a princess was not good either. Interesting. I know, right? Spicy. Yeah, so far, Justin's like, you definitely, feeling his Wheaties on this. Okay, wait. Okay, thank the Lord, we're back to Big Prime. My goodness, I forgot. Let's go back for future reference. Y'all, I could have made that bigger the whole time. I swear, one day I will learn. God bless me. Okay. Soon after, Wayfair partnered with Sony to co-finance and distribute the film. Their agreement included a Wayfair and Baldoni's insistence that the provision was a deal breaker, a requirement that 1% of the film's proceeds be donated in support of survivors of domestic abuse. That 1% was ultimately earmarked for the organization No More, with which Baldoni had sought to partner with as early as September 2022. As they began making the film, Baldoni and Wayfair felt an immense responsibility to do justice not only to the story of protagonist Lily Bloom, but to the stories of the survivors around the world. Plaintiff Heath, CEO of Wayfair, expressed to Forbes on June 28, 2024, his high hopes for the film. I hope that people leave the theater feeling inspired, that for those who have been hurt, that they feel seen and that the story was told in a way that honored them. I feel like people who may in themselves, hold on, I feel like people who may in themselves as someone that may hurt them somebody may think twice about it. So I hope that people leave feeling that they got a glimpse into a world that often times we turn our eyes from. In casting Blake Lively, a world-renowned actor with act talent and charisma, in the leading role, they entrusted her with that vision to bring Lily to life. Although Wayfarer learned that Lively had a reputation for being difficult to work with, Baldoni at the time was not dissuaded and found her to be genuine. So that was the next thing. I wonder like what the vibe was in the preliminary stuff, auditions and all that. Okay, here's we're going to read the little asterisks. Stunningly, later in the process, Lively refused the opportunity to meet with No More, despite playing the lead role in a movie centered on themes of survival and resilience in the face of domestic abuse. Jeff Conway, Meet the Wayfarer Studios team, bring it up, and it's with us to theaters. Forbes. This is just a citation. Okay. B. During pre-production, Baldoni and Lively began a promising and close collaboration. On or about December 31st, 2022, Lively agreed to take the lead role of Lily Bloom. As part of the subsequent negotiations, Lively was granted an executive producer credit, a title often given to talent of her stature. Lively had requested a producer credit, but Wayfair and Sony demurred, given that such a title would not accurately reflect the role she was asked to play in the production. Wayfarer did not request nor require that Lively contribute to the film in any capacity beyond her roles as an actor and executive producer. In the beginning, it appeared that Baldoni and Lively would have a positive, collaborative, creative partnership. Baldoni and Lively worked closely in the early days of the film, trading ideas about filling key roles in the film's cast and crew. Their working relationship grew close. Baldoni and Lively shared stories and pictures from their lives, commiserated over family illnesses, and exchanged jokes and memes. Baldoni offered concern and support when Lively faced family health concerns. They texted almost daily, and a friendly banter established a comfortable dynamic that, under typical circumstances, would have made working together easy. Lively even felt comfortable enough to make silly jokes, redirecting a sweet compliment Baldoni gave. Okay, let's, number one, make this bigger so I can actually read it. Well played. I feel the same. It's such a good feeling to get work done that we're proud of and do it together. It just clicks when we find it, and that's just as rewarding as filming it, or editing it, or marketing it, or releasing it. This is all storytelling. This is why we do it. Thank you for your collaboration. I'm really proud of what we're doing. Loved, I feel the same. It's such a good feeling. I like Sentimental Blake. Never met her. I also like Asshole Blake. Don't worry. Okay, good night. I've met her. So have my suppositories. Good night. Laughed at so have my suppositories. This was the nature of the relationship, which made Lively's later allegations all the more baffling. Lively begins asserting control almost immediately. Almost immediately, Lively began inserting herself into the production process in intrusive ways well beyond the scope of her contractual entitlements. For example, Lively began to insist on creative control over her character's wardrobe. While lead actors are sometimes granted approval of their character's general look, they generally do not receive full control over wardrobe decisions without input from the director or producers. What may seem like an innocuous request can, in fact, have monumental impact on a film production. In ignoring the director's vision for her character and disposing of the weeks of effort and creativity, hold on one second, spent by the wardrobe team on shopping and carefully crafting her wardrobe, Lively sent hundreds of images to the film's costume designer, including into the late hours of the evening, depicting the style of wardrobe she wanted for her character. The costume designer had to reshop Lively's wardrobe, far exceeding the allocated budget and diverting time and resources, while also preparing wardrobes for the rest of the cast. At one point, Lively insisted that her character had money and could afford $5,000 shoes, despite being a fledgling small business owner. This forced Baldoni to rethink the entire script that had been in the works for well over a year and was approved by both Sony and Wayfair, a script that Wayfair had commissioned multiple drafts of and incorporated countless notes, including input from the book's author, Colleen Hoover. The wardrobe budget ballooned. I mean, now just that part there, and again, if it's true and whatnot, I mean, imagine going up in there and being like, I want to get some new shoes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna work it in here to get those new shoes. Um, it's like crazy. Um, and Spicy Burrito, thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat. Um, I just this is just cringy. Okay, here we go. Wait, let me scroll down. Lively often refused to participate in wardrobe fittings at the production office, which was a mere 15 minutes from Lively's home. Instead, she insisted that the custom department pack up wardrobe and deliver it to her personal residence, loading the wardrobe department on trucks and delivering the contents to Lively's home in the middle of congested Manhattan for fittings cost time and money, always in short supply on any major film. Requests of this nature are typically made during contract negotiations. Since Lively made no such requests at the time, this added expense was not included in the budget. Lively, who had a great obligation to the studios as an executive producer, paid no heed to budget constraints, let alone to the months of planning that had already been completed. I mean, this just sounds like somebody who wants to do, if you say A, they say B. If you say up, they say down. They just want to cause whatever and they want everything to go their way. They don't care. It's just, whatever works for me in the moment. In an effort to maintain harmony at the start of their working relationship and to avoid further delays caused by wardrobe conflicts, Baldoni and the studio reluctantly ceded full control to Lively for her wardrobe. This concession quickly proved regrettable. On the first day of principal photography, paparazzi captured and published photos of Lively in character wearing her handpicked wardrobe. These images were widely reported as unflattering and sparked a backlash from Sony. Baldoni received direct criticism from Sony, who voiced serious concerns about the impact of the photos on the film's public perception. Following these events, Baldoni approached Lively in her trailer to discuss necessary wardrobe adjustments and resetting their relationship to assert his role as director and his need to have approval over her wardrobe. The conversation, while professional, took considerable time and was later grossly misrepresented in Lively's CRD complaint, which falsely characterized the exchange as a lengthy outburst that delayed filming and caused the crew to wait for hours while Baldoni cried in Lively's dressing room. On information and belief, Lively circulated this false account to the New York Times with the intention and result that it can be widely published. This conversation did not take hours, and any length of time it took was not because Baldoni cried for hours. In truth, rather than take heed of the concerns of the film's distributor and director, Lively took this time to, among other things, suggest to Baldoni that he was being gaslit by Sony Heathen, the other producer, and tried to convince him to let her continue to take the helm. Baldoni did briefly become emotional during the conversation, but only in response to, now hold on one second. Note, we're going to read the clip notes. Notably, Lively herself had voiced insecurities about the public perception of her casting as Lily Bloom. Lily is described as a 23-year-old woman and recent college graduate within the first few pages of the book, which Lively would have known had she read the book before production, despite having admitted to ordering a copy months before, which remarkably she ordered only after she had already committed to the role December 20th, 2022. Nevertheless, when Lively learned that Lily was a decade plus younger than herself in the book, Lively asked the author, Colleen Hoover, explain in her public casting announcement that they decided to age up the book's characters for the film. Hoover didn't put the statement out in the way Lively requested. Lively was not happy. I mean, the other part that's funny about this is they think we pay this much attention to it. I mean, I guess like a direct fan of the book who would make the correlation, but like the general public who's going to go, they just haven't seen the thing, so they're not going to question this, right? It's like, you know, I mean, again, and if it's true and whatnot. Okay, please don't. I guess let's go back up here real quick just so we get that last sentence. Okay, this is only in response to what he believed was a genuine compliment from Lively, praising his work as a director and actor. In hindsight, this was part and parcel of the ongoing pattern of manipulation and gaslighting by Lively, intended to continue to allow her autonomy over her wardrobe. Lively later distorted the conversation in support of her baseless harassment allegations, alleging that Baldoni made inappropriate comments on her appearance. In reality, Baldoni, the film's director, was relaying the distributor's concerns and the widespread social media criticism regarding the wardrobe's failure to meet audience expectations, a sentiment Baldoni shared. This incident is just one of the many examples of Lively's troubling pattern of manipulation and lies. As another example, early in the pre-production stage, Lively sent Baldoni a long text describing how directors never permitted her to write scenes for the movie she acted in, nor gave her writing credits, even making her hand scribble her for suggestions for lines that they could not be traced to her. Lively boasted that she had even written for her husband's movies. Then Lively asked if she could take a pass at writing the rooftop scene in It Ends With Us, in which the characters Riley and Lily first meet. This pivotal scene, much beloved by book fans, was critical for setting the tone for the movie. So Baldoni was reluctant to allow an actor, rather than a union screenwriter, to rewrite the key scene. But Baldoni felt the need to allow Lively to rewrite the scene and agreed to take a look at what she put together. The draft of the rooftop scene that Lively sent Baldoni dramatically differed from what had originally been written. Baldoni was hesitant about many of the changes, but thanked Lively for her passion and diplomatically told her that the scene would likely end up being somewhere between the original version and Lively's version. Seemingly stung by Baldoni's exceedingly mild resistance, Lively did not respond and went silent for multiple days. Later, she confirmed in a text message below that Baldoni's response, of course, didn't feel great for me, or another mega celebrity friend, Ryan Reynolds, to have my passion praised instead of my specific contribution. Lively was referring to an earlier meeting where Lively summoned Baldoni to her New York penthouse, where Baldoni was greeted by Ryan Reynolds, who launched into enthusiastic praise for Lively's version of the scene. However, later, as the meeting was ending, a famously close friend of Reynolds and Lively walked into the room and similarly began praising Lively's script. Baldoni understood the subtext. He needed to comply with Lively's direction for the script. Do y'all think it was Taylor Swift? Because isn't she really good friends with Taylor Swift? Or do we know who it was? I wonder if it was Taylor. Okay, so then later, Baldoni felt obliged to text Lively to say that he had liked her pages and hadn't needed Reynolds and her mega celebrity friend to pressure him. Lively responded that the two were her dragons. I think it was Taylor, y'all. Lively went on to say, they, Reynolds and the mega celebrity friend, also know I'm not always good at making sure I'm seen and utilized for fear of threatening egos or fear of affecting the ease of the process. They don't give a you know what about that. And because of that, everyone listens to them with immense respect and enthusiasm. So I guess I have to start worrying about people like me. I don't know, emoji, emphasis added. The message could not have been clearer. Baldoni was not just dealing with Lively, he was also facing Lively's dragons. Two of the most influential and wealthy celebrities in the world were not afraid to make things very difficult for him. Again, I literally think it was Taylor Swift, y'all. I mean, this is insane. Renee says, yeah, 100%. Or, yeah, okay, so Taylor's gonna put on Front Street. Or what's his name? Ryan's gotten put on Front Street. Oh, here we go. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to read through these texts, and I'm going to probably wrap it up because I'm just getting tired for the evening. I think we'll definitely continue with it, not tonight, obviously, but we'll continue forward because it's definitely interesting enough. And we almost got through like 20 some pages tonight. So, I mean, but probably like an earlier live chat on it will be good without a day that's been like crazy like this one running around. But, anyways, we'll get to it. Let's keep going for now. Okay, so Blake, if you send me the FTX, I'll work when I can steal moments. And yes, of course, please send to Christy. We're all on the same team with the same goal. Justin, great. Also was working on rooftop scene today. I really love what you did. It really does help a lot. Makes it so much more fun and interesting. I would have felt that way without Ryan and Taylor. Okay, there we go, Taylor. You really are a talent across the board. Really excited and grateful to do this together. That's very appreciated. That means very much. I'm deeply inspired by the film we're going to make outside of the success of this book. We have such an opportunity to not only surprise people who love the book, but reach an even bigger audience by making an undeniably dynamic and also commercial film. The moment that excited me the most the other day was when you said you're not funny. You are going to kill that rooftop scene. You know it, I'm sure. Even though it was said in playful self-depreciation that we all participated in, it made me think of the process as a whole. Please know I trust that on the day you've got me, and I hope that you trust I've got you if you want it. We're in this together, and we are two of this most determined people I know. We also have very high bars set for ourselves. To collaborate with that type of partner is a gift that neither of us will squander because we both care too much about the result and the experience. I have no motives except for you to win as a director, as an actor, as a studio, as a writer. If you win, I win. If you win, our movie wins. We are aligned, and I will bring everything I have to this. As for Taylor and Ryan and whatever for that matter, I'm the luckiest mother effer on the planet to have them as my dance moms level stage moms. They are embarrassingly effusive. That said, they're also my most trusted partners and the people I go to first with anything creative I touch. And I'm the person they each go to first. That reciprocal creativity and support has been one of my life's greatest and most fulfilling gifts. When they loved and signed off on the pages, it felt good to send them to you. They asked what you thought specifically after. They checked in so many times. I told them that you laughed a bunch and said it's probably a blend, but you appreciate my passion so much, which of course didn't feel great for me or them. To have my passion be praised instead of any specific contribution, or even just that you didn't like the pages, which was fine also. I mean, just the level of this texting is insane. So I think they wanted you and me to see how they felt about the work because they've been by my side for far too many experiences where I've been overlooked. I spoke to you about this when we first met. They watched me handwrite scripts because the director is too afraid to send the FTX file, yet he scans and has someone hand type all 120 pages of my pencil rewrites. They've watched me be hired as a writer and paid a significant fee for it, but on the condition that I never ask for credit, which I could give a s about. It's more the principle of the dynamics at play. They've watched the other side of it too, where I'm told at signing on that I'm wanted as a true collaborator, but once we get to work, I'm really just wanted as a yes man, audience, and actor. Both Ryan and probably Taylor have established themselves as absolute titans as writers and storytellers outside of their primary gig, just singing or just acting or blank, just directing. I'm so lucky to have them as creative barometers, but also to have them as the people who prop me up and make sure I'm seen for all I can offer, because they know firsthand all I contribute. They also know I'm not always good at making sure I'm seen and utilized for the fear of threatening egos or fear of affecting the case of the process. They don't give a you know what about that. And because of that, everyone listens to them with immense respect and enthusiasm. So I guess I have to stop worrying about people liking me. If you ever get around to watching Game of Thrones, you'll appreciate that I'm Khaleesi and like her. I happen to have a few dragons for better or worse, but usually for better, because my dragons also protect those I fight for. So really we all benefit from these gorgeous monsters of mine. You will too, I can promise you. These people are all exhausting. Oh my God. I mean, I cannot. Dear Lord. Just the fact that that was I can't think of an instant that would cause me to write a text message that long. I mean, it's just like over a little opening scene. It's like, I mean, and I get you want to do your thing, but it's just like, I mean, the self-importance of this crowd, but I mean, it's Hollywood people, right? It's like what they do. I mean, that whole thing. Oh, yes. I mean, again, we don't know. Sandy says Chad's book to Lori literally is what it's giving. Literally what it's giving. Again, this is his side of the story so far, whatever, you know. And yeah, but he says all me instead of teamwork. Yeah, it feels very fake because like the way he's talking, like he'd come like so this is the vibe I get. In the beginning of the text message, he's like, hey, it was really great and blah 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 blah. And he is kind of being like maybe middle of the road. And she's super nice at first. It's almost like the seething between the two of them, even though it's not there yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and the fact that, like, imagine walking in somewhere and Taylor Swift is there and Ryan Reynolds, and they're like, yeah, you wait till you read this first scene. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. How awkward. Thanks, Shell. I appreciate it. For the director, it's like they're kind of manipulating him into like agreeing or whatever. You know what I mean? And then to go on and on about it, like, well, that didn't feel good for me or them. I'm like, is Taylor in the movie? Is Ryan in the movie? I mean, I get you want your friends looking out for you, but it's like, I didn't see her name in the credits. She's been on that damn tour for 5 years. You know what I'm saying? Ryan's been playing Deadpool for 5 years. Again, that's the whole thing. Like with all these movie people and singers and stuff like that, it's like when you start learning how they really are, it's disappointing. Not all of them, but I mean, Justin bows down to her. He really does. I'm not seeing, and again, I mean, if you were bowing down and it was just like, well, she's just going to try and take over the movie, which she can't, she's going to destroy you. I mean, I would be upset too. Again, we'll see what all the evidence shows. So far, I'm not seeing, like in the communications, mind you, 25 pages in, I'm seeing documented evidence of him really being about the victims, really wanting to, Taylor to the music, thank you, really wanting to be there for that. Now, I don't, just if the wardrobe thing alone was true, I mean, what a prima donna thing of like deliver it to the house and oh, she needs $5,000 shoes, and you know what I'm saying? Again, it just sounds like a very self-righteous, that's the word, self-righteous crowd. Very self-righteous crowd. So yeah. So here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna go pass out. I'm exhausted. These people have literally exhausted me. I'm gonna go to bed. I'm tired. Well, I think definitely I'm down for reading more of this because it's fascinating to me. So we'll do another one and we'll get through the next little bit of it and maybe try and do it earlier or whatever. So we'll see. I do appreciate y'all suffering through this with me. It wasn't as bored. It wasn't as boring as I thought it was gonna be. I was like, oh God, this is gonna be dry or whatever. But I mean, there's enough to be like, huh. It's an interesting peek into a world. It's the most interesting thing to me about it. You know. So I'm finding that part interesting. But thank you, Emily. Thank you, Indy, for hanging out, keeping everything going. And thank you, everybody, for hanging out and listening to this as we read through it. I'll let y'all know when the next one is. I'll try and get this time correct and all the fun things and whatnot. Learn to blow the screen up. We'll let you know how the Dolly mac and cheese is. Okay. I mean, that's the most important. But that's it. Y'all have a wonderful Friday evening. And I will see y'all soon. So good night, sweet dreams. Good night, everybody.